Hi, this is Dee Kaler with USD's Career Development Center. Welcome to Alumni Zoom Trips, our virtual webcast series with USD alumni experts that provide a glimpse into the life of our alumni in the aftermath of the pandemic. This program is co-hosted with the Office of Alumni Relations. Jessica Tishue is a graduate of USD's Communications and International Business program, a serial entrepreneur who loves to make social impact. She's the founder of online magazine Cook and Culture and Bliss Foods, the first ever boutique company that produces edible tableware, as well as the multi-award-winning agency Disruptive Marketing. Jessica, it's wonderful to have you with us this morning. How are you?
Thank you, Dee. I'm excellent. Thank you so much for having me here today.
You bet. So you unite the world through food. Can you tell us about how you do that?
Yeah, so that's a juicy question for me. So one of my big passions is food, and I really believe that food is a powerful vessel. Much like music, I see food as a love language that has the power to transcend borders, cultures, religion, and creed, and it's something that we can really bond over. So in my professional life, this has especially manifested with cooking culture. So Cooking Culture is an online magazine and media channel where we really provide awareness from recipes, cultural traditions, and celebrations. And our whole goal is to create unity and inclusivity around food. And in my personal life, this shows up because I love food. I love enjoying different foods from around the world with all sorts of people. So my family and I were really passionate about cooking and really taking time to sit and have meals with people, invite friends, invite families, and guests. And I really, to take that time to sit down and to not only digest the food, but to digest life together and come together as people.
Wonderful. And I know you have French Italian background too, right? So I can definitely think of that love of food and coming from that heritage as well.
Yes, it's in my blood.
Uh-huh. And can you also tell us about the sort of, I think it was called the Power Up program, where you empower students as well through cooking culture, particularly students who are interested in marketing and communications?
Yes, that's a great question. So an offshoot of Cooking Culture is the Power Up program. And right now it's a global program where I've consolidated 3 to 5 years of experience. Previous to Cooking Culture, I ran a very successful digital marketing and business analytics agency for a decade. And so I've taken everything I've learned about that environment to consolidate 3 to 5 years worth of experience into a communications and digital marketing program for students around the world. And we're specifically focused on empowering females and minority students with the skills that they really need to thrive in the workforce.
Mm-hmm. And what types of, number one, I'm sort of thinking of USD students who might qualify for this. So are there any other qualifications in addition to being from a minority community and a female?
So what we really look for is, one, a cultural alignment. Are you someone who's really passionate about food and how it can be a vessel for social change in the world? So does it align with your North Star? We really look for students who are dedicated and committed, who really strive for excellence in their life. So those are some of the things that we look for. There's no prereqs or anything. What we hope for is that whatever you're learning in school, whether you're learning business analytics or marketing or advertising, it's aligned with the internship program that you go through Cooking Culture.
Thank you for that information. And do you accept applications on a rolling basis, or is there a certain application deadline?
We do accept applications on a rolling basis. There are some projects that have deadlines for them, but you can find out all that information. We've posted all our applications on chegs.com for opportunities, and you can find that information there.
Awesome. Thanks for that.
Mhm.
And sort of, shifting from the Power Up program to what it means to be a female entrepreneur. What has been your biggest challenge as a women entrepreneur? And can you quickly walk us through the process involved in launching a business, commercializing an idea?
Mhm. So I started my entrepreneurial career about 11 years ago, and there's been quite of challenges along the way. One of my most pressing challenges to date has been fundraising. And I've aligned myself with amazing advisors. Right now, we're fundraising for Bliss Foods. Historically, I've bootstrapped my businesses and have taken financial successes to invest in the next stage of growth or invest in new projects. And I've been historically investing in cooking culture and Bliss Foods. But right now, we're at the stage where we need to ramp up our production space and hire more staff, buy more machinery, and it's resource intensive. So we're looking to bring on investors. And even though I have amazing advisors, entrepreneurs who have raised money before, coaching me and guiding me throughout this process, there's been quite a bit of obstacles. And I didn't fully grasp the problem until I participated in an entrepreneurial boot camp through Ad Astra Ventures. And what I learned is that only 2.6% of all female entrepreneurs get funded. Only 2.6%, which is quite low. And we dove in a bit and we learned about the biases that impact women when they're fundraising. And they showed data showing us that even if a female and a male have the same presentation, they're in a room, the females get asked risk assessment questions. So they get asked questions, when this obstacle happens, how are you going to overcome it? And men tend to get asked more promotional questions, and get points of feedback, encouraging them to think bigger and even to grow to another level. So I found this to be really interesting. And I'm also a part of a couple global entrepreneurial female groups, and across the board, all females experience major obstacles and challenges when fundraising. And I think right now there's awareness around this. This is an issue that's coming to light. There's social media posts and so forth, though I think that there needs to be more concerted action and support for the female-led organizations and businesses.
Mm-hmm. So what I'm hearing almost is that males are sort of being motivated and encouraged to sort of push forward, whereas women are being discouraged to succeed and to thrive, right? Because of these disparities in resources. And are there any organizations or resources that you could refer female entrepreneurs to, particularly those who are vying for those funding opportunities?
Without a doubt. Oh yes, great question. Without a doubt, it would be Ad Astra Ventures. They have an amazing boot camp for female entrepreneurs to participate in, where you work through all sorts of things from your messaging, your value proposition, your product, the funding landscape, really honing your pitch. And they even give you opportunities to pitch to VCs and receive funding. And they're a very supportive group of women who really work to keep you engaged with the VC community and to connect you with resources.
Thank you, Jessica. So at Astra Ventures. And what is the best career advice you've received?
Yeah, so the best career advice I've ever received is to follow your passion and your purpose wholeheartedly. And I really have taken this advice to heart in my own life. And as an entrepreneur, I think especially it makes a difference, because if you do not believe in your product, others are not going to believe in it as well. And number two, it's going to make a major impact on your health and well-being. It takes a lot of energy and commitment and dedication as an entrepreneur. And so it's much better and much easier to commit to something that you're fully passionate about and that lights you up.
Amazing. And who is your role model as an entrepreneur?
I have several role models. So this is an interesting question. I have a couple in my personal life, and then there's a couple entrepreneurs that I haven't met and a few leaders that have since passed away. But I think one of my biggest role models as a female leader in the world has always been my grandmother, actually. She grew up in France, and she was a part of the French underground during the war. And her family previous to the war was very privileged. They had one of the first cars in all of France. She was one of 6 families who got to go to boarding school. The war rocked her family and her world to the core. I mean, like I said, she was a part of the French underground. Her home got invaded. Her father went away. He became a prisoner of war. That's how he eventually died. And she experienced quite a bit of tragedy during the war. And she's always been a Renaissance woman, despite whatever obstacles that she's facing. She took that tragedy. She left France in the middle of the war during a time when women weren't traveling by themselves to pursue a new life of safety and flourishing. And she's always been someone I've really admired and respected as someone who is very strong, who doesn't let the obstacles in life hold her back. She's always looking for the positive, savoring the moment. And she's someone who really stands on her own 2 feet and has her own opinion and ideas. So I think in a lot of ways, she has shaped me as a female entrepreneur and a leader in the world, and as someone who has grit as an entrepreneur. So she's definitely been a leader for me. And then a couple other entrepreneurs that I really respect and admire are Kimball Musk. He's Elon Musk's brother. He's very committed to our food systems and the flourishing of our food systems. And I think the way he just goes about leading is really inspiring. And then Jack Johnson, the artist, the musician, he's also a huge activist for our oceans, and he's truly, authentically, deeply committed to his mission in life. And so he's someone that I deeply respect. And then historically, I've looked for inspiration from leaders such as John Lennon, Martin Luther King, and Gandhi.
Beautiful. Thank you. What I hear as the values that inspire you are sort of that authenticity, grit, passion, vision, commitment, some of the things that you just shared. Along those lines, what would you say is key to leadership success?
I think definitely the passion, but beyond the passion is to have that grit. No matter what happens, life is going to throw you obstacles, especially as a leader, even in your career. Life will throw you obstacles. So no matter what happens, to never give up and to kind of buckle up knowing that life is going to throw you obstacles, and always be solution oriented, look for solutions. And I think collaborating with others is a really, really important piece. There's only so much that we can do on our own as individuals. And I think it's so much more powerful to surround ourselves with people who are aligned with our mission and our purpose in life, because they're going to see solutions to problems that we couldn't see. And they're going to offer amazing vantage points and perspectives to really strengthen your mission and vision in the world.
Thank you for that. And so I have 2 related questions. One is, how do you assess the impact of COVID-19 on women-led businesses? And for those in our audience who are interested in establishing their companies, what would your top advice be for them?
That's a really interesting question, and I kind of have a multifaceted answer to it. I think first and foremost is to look at the impact of COVID-19 on your vertical. I think COVID has impacted certain industries more than others. Some industries like e-commerce have really taken off and thrived in the midst of this, but other businesses such as restaurants and brick and mortar businesses have really experienced challenges, especially the tourism industry. So I think first and foremost, it depends on your vertical. But as I mentioned previously, even before the pandemic, only 2.6% of women were being funded. So I think it makes it even more challenging for women during these times. And I myself personally have experienced quite a bit of supply chain issues during this time. And I think the fundraising opportunities have lessened during the pandemic.
And Jessica, we're blessed to have you as an active mentor on the team platform. And I was wondering how you mentor others and any tips that you might have for our active mentors.
Yes, that's a great question. So on the team platform, it really varies from student to student. They typically reach out to me and they tell me a little bit about their backgrounds and what they'd like mentorship on. And so far, there hasn't been one commonality from student to student. Everyone has a different question or idea in which they'd like to receive mentorship. So typically, I just set up a phone call. Especially with the pandemic, I set up a phone call with that student to get to know them a bit more and to offer them any guidance or mentorship where I can. And I would just say, put yourself on team if you're an alumni, be really open. These students really value your perspective and your opinion, and they really take your advice to heart. So with team, you have a real opportunity to impact someone's life for the better.
Thank you. Thanks for that helpful advice. And two last questions. One is, any blogs, websites, resources that you would recommend others who are interested in becoming or growing as entrepreneurs and leaders?
There's many books and different resources out there. So I'll mention a couple resources. I think a couple books, Think and Grow Rich. It was actually written about 100 years ago from Napoleon Hill, but there's so many pieces of wisdom in that book that stand true today. And a lot of successful leaders say that this book was a major catalyst to their success. So I definitely recommend that book. I also recommend the book 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. That's a really great book as well. And then a resource that has been deeply impactful in my own life is something called Landmark Education. And they have different experiential learning courses. And I've been involved in Landmark Education for quite some time, doing the different experiential programs. And what I really love about it is you're in a group setting and there is a leader and there's certain things that they're teaching. But a lot of it is they have breakout exercises that either you have to do individually or in a group setting. And it's really designed to have you see your blind spots and anything that's holding you back in life. And they work to provide you tools that you can hands-on apply in your own life so you can have breakthroughs and bridge that gap from where you are to where you want to go. And it's extremely powerful to be in a room where you can articulate and express your ultimate vision for your life and your goals and have people rooting for your success to attain that.
It's beautiful that you shared that, because I too had participated in Landmark Forum back in New York City years back. It's transformed my life in ways unimaginable. In fact, I still remember my coach, Terry Berry. He was so transformational in my life. So I definitely second that. If anything, check out Landmark Forum. And to end with, 3 words to describe USD.
3 words to describe USD would be excellence, passion, and leadership. And I have to say real quickly, Terry Berry was also one of my coaches.
You're kidding.
No, and he was one of my favorite of all times.
Isn't he incredible?
He's an incredible human.
Yeah. We have to chat about that offline.
Yes.
But thank you so much
for
being here today and for inspiring us.
Yeah.
See you again soon, Jessica. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dee. I appreciate it. It's an honor to be here.